Meta's $14 billion gamble on AI. Meta has just made one of the boldest moves in the history of artificial intelligence. The company signed a $14.2 billion deal with CoreWeave, a specialized infrastructure provider, to secure guaranteed access to high-performance GPU clusters through the year 2031, with an option to extend to 2032. This isn't a simple lease on some extra servers. This is Meta buying the fuel that will power the next decade of AI. Why would Meta commit so much money so far ahead? Because compute power has become the new oil of our time. Models are built on data, but they run on silicon. Without GPUs, the biggest algorithms remain stuck in theory. With them, you can train frontier-scale models that can reason, generate, and interact with billions of users in real time. The competition for GPUs has become so fierce that companies sometimes wait months just to rent capacity. Meta's answer was to take itself out of the waiting room and buy a decade's worth of priority access. This deal ensures Meta gets the newest Nvidia GB300 systems as soon as they're available. These are the latest and most powerful accelerators in the industry, designed for workloads so massive that older clusters choke. By locking in access, Meta is future-proofing its entire research roadmap. Every new generation of its Llama models, every experiment with world models, every multimodal assistant, all of it can now be planned without asking, will we have the GPUs to pull this off? The scale of Meta's data demands this kind of move. Billions of people use Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Threads every day. That activity creates oceans of training data, but without compute power, the data is wasted. OpenAI has Microsoft behind it. Anthropic has Amazon. Google builds its own. Meta couldn't afford to keep scraping by with scraps of infrastructure rented from outsiders. The $14 billion CoreWeave deal is their way of saying, we want to rent the future, we will own it. CoreWeave may not be a familiar name to the average person, but inside AI infrastructure, it is considered one of the sharpest players. Unlike general cloud providers, CoreWeave builds data centers only for AI. Everything, power, cooling, networking, is tuned to keep accelerators running at full tilt. Think of it like a Formula One car compared to a minivan. Both drive, but only one is engineered to squeeze every ounce of speed from its machine. By partnering with CoreWeave, Meta gets access to that precision-built track. But this deal is not just about raw speed, it's about freedom. For years, big tech fought over the same pool of hardware, competing for deliveries and negotiating cloud contracts under pressure. Whoever had priority got to move, and everyone else stalled. Now Meta can control its schedule. New models can be trained on its timeline. Global rollouts can happen without fear of delays. When your user base is in the billions, reliability becomes a weapon in itself. That's the foundation of the deal. $14 billion buys more than just machines. It buys predictability, independence, and the ability to plan AI at scale. And that's only the beginning of Meta's strategy. The CoreWeave contract was the headline, but the side move may be just as important. Meta is reported to be acquiring Rivos, a startup building custom accelerators based on the open RISC-V architecture. This shows that Meta doesn't just want to rent the fastest GPUs, it wants to design its own. Why does that matter? Because whoever controls the chips controls the future. Apple proved this when it built its own M-series processors and left Intel behind. With custom silicon, Meta could optimize chips for its specific workloads, cutting costs, improving performance, and reducing dependence on Nvidia's roadmap. The combination of CoreWeave S clusters and Rivos S design team could give Meta something no competitor has, an end-to-end AI pipeline from silicon to software. That's empire building, and it raises the stakes of the entire AI arms race. Microsoft and Google won't ignore a move this big. Expect them to double down on their own partnerships and hardware development. Amazon will lean harder into AWS as an AI powerhouse. Startups trying to train frontier models will face an even steeper climb. The cost of competing has gone up, and Meta just made it clear that only giants with billions to spend will play at the frontier. But ambition comes with risk. $14 billion is not pocket change, even for Meta. That kind of capital lock-in can backfire if the technology shifts in an unexpected direction. If Nvidia's architecture stumbles, if RISC-V accelerators don't deliver, Meta could find itself tied to the wrong horse. Regulators are also circling. A deal of this scale, plus the acquisition of chip talent, will raise antitrust alarms in Washington and Brussels. Meta's record on privacy and safety guarantees even more scrutiny when its AI ambitions scale. Still, the upside is massive. With guaranteed compute, Meta can expand its Llama models to larger context windows, train assistants that can reason across days of conversations, and push multimodal systems that combine text, vision, audio, and video. It can roll out safety layers faster, experiment with retrieval augmented generation at scale, and even attempt persistent world models that simulate reality itself. All of these require horsepower, and Meta just bought itself the engine. The impact will ripple far beyond Silicon Valley. If you are a startup, this means compute just got scarcer. If you are a creator, this means Meta's tools inside Instagram or WhatsApp may suddenly get smarter, more personalized, and more automated. If you are a consumer, this means the feeds, ads, and assistants you interact with daily may be powered by models trained on this very infrastructure. The deal isn't just a contract, it's a shift in how the entire internet will feel. The bottom line is clear. Meta's $14.2 billion agreement with CoreWeave, combined with the acquisition of Rivos, is a declaration of war in the AI arms race. It's not about dabbling or experimenting. It's about controlling the stack from the chip to the cloud to the app in your hand. That is vertical integration at a scale we haven't seen since the rise of the smartphone. Will it succeed? That depends on technology, regulation, and execution. But one thing is certain. The next decade of artificial intelligence won't just be defined by clever algorithms. It will be decided by who controls the compute, who designs the chips, and who has the courage to spend billions to shape the battlefield. Meta has made its move, and now the rest of the world has to respond.